Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Do you smell it? You smell it, don't you?
I do.
That is the smell of college football. It's just a little ways away, but the aroma is there, and we're ready for it. Welcome in, everybody, as we get ready for the first really official night of college football, as we are at Tallassee Automotive here on River Region Sports this afternoon. Glad to be with you. I'm Graham Dunn, Michael Butler. Are we giddy? Is that a good word? Is that too strong a word? What do you think?
It's good for me. Works for me, man.
I mean, really. We've been waiting how many days? Since January, 8th, 9th?
Was that when we had
it's usually right around my
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I think
how many
8th was the
days is
championship.
that?
Oh, good gosh. I don't know. It's
Long.
been 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least 6 months.
8 months.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so we've had to wait this long. We've gone through a bunch of, you name it. We've had controversies. We've had how many debates can you have in an 8-month period about a quarterback battle in which the coach won't even acknowledge what he's going to do? We've had another situation with someone, in this case a coach, assaulting a woman. We've had we've had some other situations where I'm trying to remember what happened at it was the player who left at Texas A&M just a few weeks ago and went out there and said that Texas A&M was basically breaking NCAA rules. We've had it all in the summer, but now we can finally watch some games, talk about what's happening on the field of play, and not worry so much about what might be happening in the peripheral. And I'm very happy for that.
Me too. I'm ready to play. Aren't you?
I am.
Suit up and go now, right?
And no offense to our friends in the high school world or even the pro world, this is where, quite frankly, the bread is buttered in this part of the world. We all live for college football, 365, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Yes, many of us even dream about it in our sleep for those 8 hours, if you get 8 hours of sleep.
How many have dreamed about that pass from Tua Tagovailoa to Devontae Smith? I wonder.
I would say probably more Georgia fans, and it was a nightmare.
yeah, that's right. Woke them up in a cold sweat.
Of course, some of them probably dreamed, and Devontae Smith drops it.
Yeah,
that's
maybe it goes the other way for them this next
mind
time.
Working to make them feel good, as opposed to him actually catching it. So I don't know. And you know what? I imagine there's some Alabama fans who have had dreams where Devontae Smith drops the ball too. Have you ever had one of those, not necessarily dreams, but you have a moment flash where the exactly opposite happens of what really happened? Not necessarily in football. Maybe you did hit that telephone pole.
I'm sure it's happened at some point, yeah.
I mean, I have them all the time.
Do you?
Yeah. It's the what-if factor, and it sits inside of me, and I guess maybe it makes me thankful for the way things happen, even though sometimes we have bad things happen. But it's still, when you think about, I had one, I remember a long time ago. I'm going back to Matt Suhey in Penn State. I had a dream that Matt Suhey scored that touchdown to tie the game against Alabama in the Sugar Bowl in 1970.
Yeah.
It would have been 1979. I also had Lonnie Smith scoring that game-winning run against Minnesota in the World Series. So I've gone both ways.
I've had the dream where I can't get up and move when the house is on fire. Have you had that one before?
I have not.
Okay.
Now,
You're sitting there trying to run, but you can't move.
I have been in the house and I can't find any clothes.
Oh, yeah.
House is not necessarily on fire, but I
Yeah.
can't find anything to wear. And so I just went on to school naked. That's usually how it works.
All right, moving right along to a sports show.
Hey, you got us up here on video. I don't know if that's
testing
good thing, but
yeah, we're testing it. We're trying some things because we got a game tomorrow night. We launched our video channel last week on YouTube with Tallassee football and tinkered with it there. We're trying to just work out all the kinks and make sure it's working fine. So here today we go on live. You can get on YouTube on Tallassee Times TV, and you can watch live video of us here in this lush showroom that we have.
Yes, very lush. We have our nice corner here in the waiting area of we got the blue chairs back. We're happy with the blue chairs.
We were next door last time, and I like that too. It's good to kind of move around a bit.
But back here at Tallassee Automotive on this Thursday afternoon, and then tomorrow we'll be on the road again. But they got and as usual, they got a lot full of trucks and cars and SUVs, both new and used.
And I got to tell you, Graham, I'm thinking about football season and tailgating and all of that. And wouldn't it be nice to drive up in one of these brand new trucks? They got a Dodge Ram going at 29 right now, brand new, and just drop the tailgate and tailgate at your favorite
literally
site. I mean, truly tailgating. Yes, I mean they've got anything you need to set up. I mean, if it's an SUV, whatever you want. I mean, if you just want to get in a new car, brand new cars, they got some on the line at $14,000, and this is 2018. Think about
new
that.
Cars, new.
You can't buy a car for that anymore, can you? Yeah, no. You can right here at Tallassee Automotive.
Yeah, they are trying to move some of these cars, and so they're going to give you the best deal they possibly can. Of course, they got all the financing that they'll take care of you. They'll find a payment that you can work with, and I think a lot of folks should take advantage of that. This is a good week. Hey, it's Labor Day weekend, right? Some people, me included, we're going out of town Saturday after all the high school football is taken care of, and we're going to make a little road trip and be gone till Monday. We aren't working Monday, right? I just want to make sure.
I'm
we
not
are,
planning
to do it over the phone.
You got to take Labor Day, don't you?
Yeah. Well, they do call it that, right? Yeah. So you know what? A lot of folks are going to be doing that. Why not take some time to come by here? You got today and tomorrow. You know, maybe you're going somewhere tomorrow. Hey, you may be headed to Atlanta or headed to Orlando. Maybe you're going down to Troy to watch the Trojans beat up on Boise State this weekend. Maybe you headed over to Hornet Stadium, watch Alabama State and Tuskegee, and which is probably the most the underrated rivalry in college football. All of those places, you pull up in a new vehicle, you're going to be the talk of the town.
I believe it. Yeah, and they'll be glad to work with you. Got two lots full of cars and trucks here and SUVs right here at Tallassee Automotive.
Exactly. So come by and say, we're here till 2 o'clock today. But certainly they'll be open later than that, and they will take care of you. Take as long as you need. And if you just get off of work at 5 o'clock, hustle on over here. They'll have plenty of time to see you. So we'd like to see you here, though. We want to see you come by and talk with us and give us a big either a Roll Tide, War Eagle, go Trojans, go Hornets, go Tuskegee, whatever it is you say. You just can't say go Big Orange. That's my only limitation.
We don't allow that here.
Yeah, even though they've got a local boy coaching the team up there, I can't bring myself to let people say that to my face.
We've got some programs that are starting tonight. I know you can listen here on WTLS. Lindy's Football Report, first show is tonight at 6. I was talking to Eric Cresswell, listened to the Hey Coach Nick Saban show last week. So where's Nick? I said, well, this is his first night tonight. Yeah. You know, he waits till the first game, so that comes on after the Lindy's show at 6:30 tonight. But you got college football Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, and, of course, Alabama versus Louisville. I'm wondering, we haven't really said much about this. I know Lynn will make a pick tonight, but you brought up Tennessee. They're a big underdog. Who's going to make the big upset this week? Somebody's going down that's supposed to win. And I'm not talking about a close game. Somebody's going to win that's a 10-point underdog or more. And there's West Virginia, with that kind of line over Tennessee. Can Tennessee knock them off?
You know what? I think they could, but they won't. I'm just not.
Well, I know one you picked. It's Troy.
Yeah.
Because Troy's a double-digit underdog at home, and you picked them to win outright.
I have picked them to win outright. I think they will beat Boise State, which kind of leads into something else that we'll get into in just a minute, the heat and humidity. It's going to be probably 89, 90 degrees at game time down at Memorial Stadium in Troy. But the humidity is probably going to be 60 to 65%. It's been raining all week. It rained in my house this morning. That humidity is going to linger. It's going to be around for several days. Atlanta, What did they say? Please close the dome. Don't leave it open. Now, that's a coach from Washington. Last time I checked, Idaho and Washington were in the same vicinity.
Yes.
My geography's not great, but I do know that much. And they can't close the dome at Troy.
How much of an advantage is that?
I think it's a huge advantage.
Real big advantage.
I think it's a bigger advantage than when somebody from the south goes up north and plays in cold weather.
Now, I know you talk about the Falcons game when the dome is open. Are they closing the dome for the Auburn game?
They are, from what I understand. Now, here's what I got this story, and I wasn't sure if Gary Stokan, who we've had on this program during SEC Media Days in the past, he runs the Chick-fil-A Bowl. He runs the preseason. What would that be? The opening season Chick-fil-A game.
The Chick-fil-A kickoff. Yeah,
that's the word we should use. He got a special request. This came from Saturday Down South. He got a special request from Chris Peterson to close the top of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now, in this story, I looked for it. Maybe I missed it. Maybe Stokan agreed to have it closed. Well, I think he did, because Stokan apparently, before the game was finalized, said they would close the top.
Well, this is a 2:30 game in Atlanta in August. This is for everybody's sake.
But here's what I've heard about that. Turn it on. I've heard that the fans won't know the difference. I understand
because they're going to run the AC even with a big hole open in the wood.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, I don't know if they've tested that.
I would think it'd be kind of tough to cool with the big door open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With being the roof,
you would think. But I would make the point, and maybe they've done this already because they've played soccer there also.
Well, it could cool you some. I just wonder how many times have they used that facility in its first year now. A full year in the books, basically, because it opened last year. With the roof open. I mean, Atlanta's a hot place. It's nice to have.
Here it is.
Cool setup there.
Chris Peterson asks Stokan, weather up here in Seattle. Of course you don't. In August and September, I know Auburn is practicing. I need you to be able to tell me you're going to close the roof. I do find it interesting that Gary Stokan would share this information with the public.
I'm surprised that. I am too, a little bit. This guy's pretty open, though. We've had him on many times. I mean, every single year he comes on the air with us.
He may not want to ask Washington again because they may say no after hearing him tell the story.
So the temperature will be a guaranteed 72.
Yes. Very, very, it says perfect.
Which I got to say,
is perfect,
if I'm a fan, I like being comfortable too. That's one thing about August football games. Yeah, it's nice to be out in the open, but then again, it is hot.
But I still, though, I mean, we've sat in the press box in a 90-degree day. We're not in the sun. And that to me is a bigger deal than even the temperature. If you're sitting in the sun, that increases the temperature 10, 15 degrees for me. And I remember going to a game long time ago. We sat, it was 11:30, it was a JP game, 11:30 game. And the temperature was only like between 80 and 83 degrees. But it felt like it was 100 because the sun was just beaming down on us the entire time. So I find it interesting that Washington would make that request. I'm sure that the folks at Chick-fil-A and the folks with the Mercedes-Benz Stadium are going to do all they can to make this a pleasurable experience, not only for their fans but for the team, because they want them to come back. This is one way to do it.
Yeah, I wonder if he had any pull in that anyway. I would have thought that they were going to close the roof regardless. So I'm wondering why he even felt like
they probably would have. But man, this just makes.
We're going to do what we want to do.
What would happen if it got stuck closed when they first opened the place last year? They couldn't open it. What if they open it and they can't close it back? Sorry, Coach.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah, did all we could. But I said all this to go back to why I'm picking Boise to lose to Troy. That's a big part of it.
No roof on that stadium.
There is no roof, and I think Troy.
It is later in the day, though.
Well, it is, but it's still going to be warm.
It'll still be hot.
It's going to be.
You can't simulate the humidity in Idaho like you're saying.
And that's a difference between really the South and the North. You can make it hot, but you can't make it humid.
Yeah. We've talked about Boise and Troy and how Troy's won some big games versus some big teams in the past in that facility, as a matter of fact. But, Boise State has got a reputation of winning big games.
They do.
As well. So, it is one of those games that may be under the radar a little bit, but I'm curious to see it. I'm going to watch try to find. I guess it'll be on the ESPN
It's on
app.
ESPN News.
Oh, it is going to be televised.
Yes, it's on. It's on.
Well, I'll watch some of
that,
it. Yeah.
I think it starts at 5 o'clock. The other thing too is you mentioned Boise and beating big name schools. How do they take Troy? I mean, how do they look at Troy? You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
If they beat Troy, okay, no big deal. They're supposed to. They're 10-point favorites.
Well, the same thing's been said about Alabama versus Louisville. It's not a name that just brings a lot of attention. It's not Michigan. It's not USC. And Troy is not Georgia or Oregon, as Boise State has played in past years in early games like this, showcase games. So,
but I would say
I don't know how far you go with that. It is the first game of the year. These guys got to be pumped up to play.
Oh, yeah. I don't doubt that, but that lasts for about 5 or 6 plays. But here's the thing about Troy. You're talking about, they've beaten some of these other great teams, but Boise has a name. Boise has created that name because they won that bowl. It was the Fiesta Bowl. I can't remember where they beat Oklahoma.
That's the one.
They've beaten those teams. Troy hasn't reached that level yet, although beating LSU last year would be pretty close. So Troy, I think, looks at Boise saying, hey, maybe we can replace them with that group of 5 name that everybody, when they instead of mentioning Boise, they mention Troy.
Well, I will say this. It is a bigger game for Troy than it is Boise as far as what it can do for the program, yes.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a timeout. We are at Tallassee Automotive. We're trying to get you come in. I want you to come in and say hello, even if you just say hello, right?
Adele, she had one.
Adele, there you go. We could go
going
through the list. There are 25 games today in college football. 25. We're going to pick every one of them. No, we're not. We'll be back. right, we're back. Welcome in once again on this Thursday afternoon on location, Tallassee Automotive, and we officially have our own audience now.
Yes.
We have an audience here of a couple here from Jackson Gap. We're not going to mention your name. It's okay. We don't want to give away your identity. We're just glad that you're here. He's real glad that you're here.
I like the way when they walked in and said, "Is this some kind of celebration?" And Eric said, "Yes, we got a huge sale going on right now."
That's right. Everything's for sale. Everything except us. Nobody would want to buy us anyway. But we'd like to see more folks come by here at Tallassee Automotive this afternoon while we're here doing the show, and look forward to meeting you and seeing you and showing off some great vehicles here on the lot.
You know, I always enjoy the one that's sitting right in the showroom here.
That's
a classic.
What year that is?
Is it 33 or something?
34? I thought it was a 34.
What year is it? Nobody knows? What year's that car right there?
That's a 30.
1930.
We
it's
both
30. All right, we were off.
Yeah.
We were close. We were close.
You know, I had one, and
it's
it
not
looked just
for
like
sale.
that one, and it was a 34.
It's not for sale, but then again, is it really not for sale?
Actually, I bet it would be for sale if somebody.
Oh, this is neat.
The
Here,
right price.
the Indiana Certificate of Vehicle Registration. There it shows 1930 Ford CN Model A.
So that is a Model A.
It's a Model A.
And
how to start a model. Oh, man, that is neat.
Yeah.
It even shows the gears and all of that in there. It's a 3. This is for Del Mar. Del Mar's got a Model A. My father-in-law has one
He
of these
has
kind
that?
of cars. No, it doesn't look that good.
Oh.
Did Del Mar write that up for you? So yeah, he's got one. It doesn't have the top, you know, the rag top basically. He's got. Yeah, but he's got a Model A. It runs. It's one of the treats for our kids.
Does he go to car shows?
No, he doesn't do that.
Because that's a big
It's not a
deal.
car show type of Model A. It needs.
I don't know. There aren't too many of those around here.
Yeah,
You might be surprised.
Yeah, I know, but he will take the kids, his grandkids. Every Sunday if they ask, he'll take them for a little ride around the block. Go out there. It takes a little while to crank it up,
Yeah.
but it gets going. Yeah.
Yeah. You ever been into that, like an aficionado of like, just not what you would drive around on a daily basis, but just some type of collectible vehicle that you could maybe restore or have to kind of show off?
I wish I knew how to do that. Yeah,
that's
that's
true.
just it. You got to get in
But
there and
you don't learn
about it.
until you buy a car.
Well, that's true. You could get your fingers dirty.
One of my favorite movies, don't laugh,
Uh-oh.
is Gone in 60 Seconds. You know which one I'm talking about, right? It's got Nicolas Cage.
I never saw it. I know which one you're talking about.
Well, they talk about old car. In fact, one of the guys. In fact, what's his name is in it, and I can't remember his name. The older actor who's been in seemingly everything. He's one of these guys that restores cars, and he talks about these vehicles that they bring in, and it just made me think, man, that sounded like that would be fun to do if I had any ability, any talent to do that.
Yeah.
Money or time, that would also be needed. So. But yeah, that right there, that 1930 Ford Model A would certainly be something fun to do. And I don't know how authentic everything is on that car. I imagine some of that leather had to be replaced, but it still looks great.
No doubt. You can see it right here at Tallassee Automotive. Just walk in.
It's right in front of you.
Ask for a test drive. See if they let you take it out for a spin.
Ooh. Yeah, that I'd like to see that. I don't know that you'll get the positive answer, but we'll see. Tonight, I mentioned it going out of the break, 25 college football games. It starts at 6 p.m. with the list that I'm looking at. The first game to get kicked off, New Hampshire at Maine.
And I may not be able to contain
Those
myself.
black
Graham. Slow
bears, those black bears are really tough at home.
Oh.
Then you have New Mexico State at Minnesota, and UConn and Central Florida.
Now, this would be funny to me. UConn wins and knocks off the defending national champions in UCF.
I will not be surprised if it happens.
I won't either. I won't either because I think UCF's in for a real falling. But they're not going to win every game this year. Scott Frost is gone. They're definitely going to lose some games. This could be one of them. Sure could.
They have spent all spring and summer talking about their national championship and how they deserved a shot last year. How many times have you seen it happen? And I know this is a new year. I love reading the comments. Alabama needs to schedule Central Florida. Well, they can't go back and schedule them last year. That was the year that Central Florida claims to have won the national title. So that's over with. And so now they're trying to get into the flow of proving themselves.
Here's the thing.
And it's a different feeling.
They're a 23-point favorite in this game. 23. And I know UConn wasn't that good last year, but that's a lot of points on the road.
Don't they have the new coach back, the guy who was there and he's returned? And I can't remember who it is. He was there for a couple of years and went off to, I want to say, went somewhere in the ACC and didn't last for a couple of years and got fired. And now he's back at that might be the loudest truck I've ever heard.
Edsel is who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Randy Edsel.
yeah, Randy Edsel.
Yeah, he was there and then left.
And now he's back, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's probably about where he needs to be. That's no offense to him or University of Connecticut football, but that's his Peter principle, so to speak. But they're not going to win tonight. I don't expect them to win, but I mean, would the world go crazy over Central Florida? Have they reached that point? Are they at that epic now to where if they lose a ball game, fans cheer?
They are putting up signs at game day this weekend that say we want UCF.
You mean they're doing it themselves?
The fans are.
Oh, really?
I'm joking. Yeah, they actually do want UCF.
Somebody said that there was a banner being
That's what the Vanderbilt players doing now.
Is that right?
UCF, you're next. Please bring them next time, not that other team, Bama.
Exactly. Other games tonight, North Dakota, Mississippi Valley. Watch out for those Delta Devils. How about Missouri State and Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State will win big, yeah.
Northwestern, Purdue, Wake Forest, Tulane, Weber, not Weber, Weber State at Utah, Northwestern State and Texas A&M. We're going to talk about that game a little bit. And this game is on Alternate Plus channel. Do you have any idea what that is?
I do not.
Western Illinois and Montana State. It starts at 8 o'clock.
But I see why it's relegated to that channel.
Yes. So those
every game's on TV of some sort now.
If it's not on the regular,
on some channel,
you can watch it online.
Yeah, I mean everybody's got a TV.
Those are the games.
Those channels.
Well, yeah. Those are the games that will be on regular television at somewhere. You can find it if you. And again, you're right. Why do you need a television anymore if you've got a phone that's got?
Well, I still like watching on the big screen, and sometimes it doesn't cooperate as well as it should on an app. At least I find that to be the issue sometimes, trying to put it on the screen.
All right, I've given you these games. Which one would you rank as the one you want to see the most?
Well, I want to see Texas A&M just because Jimbo Fisher is taking over. I'd like to see what they're doing with their team. And it's going to be tough to tell versus this type of competition. But, yeah, I'm curious. That'd be one. None of these games are that exciting. There's just not a lot of really good games until this weekend.
The best matchup is probably Northwestern and Purdue. But just the names put you to sleep, right?
Yeah, they're two middle-of-the-pack at best big 10 teams.
Yeah.
No contenders in that conference, but probably pretty even. That may be the best game on the board right there.
And that's what ESPN is showing as their primetime game. That's the best they could do on a Thursday night.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Don't you think, though, that ESPN could probably work on something a little better than that?
I thought about this, and I've talked about it some. There aren't any good games anymore on Thursday nights during the season. There used to be some premier games, some games you actually look forward to during the season on Thursdays, and now there are games on every night, and none of them are any good. And they include Friday nights. It's just it's kind of sad because I look forward to those Thursday night games, and here we are the first Thursday night of the season. Yeah, ESPN, it'd be nice if they could bring something in, but you got to get the teams to agree to play. And it used to be that, and we just kind of mentioned it, that you would play just so you could be in a primetime showcase game on television. Now everybody's on TV. It doesn't matter who you are. So why does it matter anymore?
You also have competing networks. Fox is now showing a lot of college football. In fact, they've become a big competitor, and I think that's probably playing a role here. ESPN also has gotten to where it's like they don't want to give up that Saturday. That first Saturday is supposed to be the big day. Now, they've got some real good games on Saturday, obviously, but you would think if you had an opportunity to play on that first Thursday, any other Thursday, no. But the first one, where you've been practicing all season anyway, it's the beginning of a holiday weekend. why not play on Thursday night?
There was a time when the SEC would open up on a Thursday night game. I remember Vanderbilt and South Carolina. It might not have been a great matchup, but it was the first conference game, and it was on a Thursday night, first game of the season.
A little bit surprised we don't have that this year. I guess all the coaches threw up their hands and said, we ain't doing it. All right, we'll take a quick timeout. We'll be back in here. Tallassee Automotive, River Region Sports on location. You mentioned Texas A&M. I want to talk about a story that's on ESPN talking about all ESPN, but a national championship. We'll get into that when we return. All right, we're back on this Thursday afternoon, opening night officially of college football. Big games tonight. Well, not really. Got a couple. At Kennesaw State, Georgia State may go down to the wire, playing at Old Turner Field. I noticed I was watching the Braves the other night, and they were flashing up around on the ribbon screens that Kennesaw State apparently is playing their home games at SunTrust Park.
Really?
I didn't know that. I'm a little bit surprised that the Braves would let them do that.
I am too. It used to be where the Falcons and the Braves would play at Fulton County, you remember? And you'd run over the baselines.
Yeah.
You'd see the dirt out there from the base pads and all. And
saw that the other night in Oakland. They were playing, the Raiders were playing out there, and of course they play at the same stadium that the A's play. And sure enough, they were running out in center field.
Candlestick Park was that way. I mean, there's several parks that were multi-purpose football, baseball fields, back in the day.
I think Baltimore used to play the Memorial Stadium there before they built their new stadium. Was a multi-use stadium, and even going back to when Joe Robbie was the home of the Marlins and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So you don't see that very much anymore, but you still do. But again,
laces out, Dan.
Yes.
That was on the other night. I couldn't help but watch it.
Was it really?
Yeah.
What channel?
One of these movie channels, Freeform or something. I'm trying to remember one of those cable channels.
Okay. I mentioned, of course, that Texas A&M gets started tonight. They play Northwestern State, which we did all agree that that's in Nacogdoches, Texas or Louisiana?
It's in Louisiana.
It's the Louisiana side. A&M with a new coach, Jimbo Fisher, signed for $75 million, 10 years, and I understand that most of that is guaranteed. In fact, and they're doing an interview while he's riding a horse.
Yeah.
Does that sound like Marty Smith?
Well,
right?
that's that that show that he's got. That Ryan McGee and Marty Smith did a little thing going around, the SEC. So
riding a horse?
Well, they were doing different stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I didn't know
that's
about
Marty
that
Smith. You're
I
right.
did not know that show.
That's what Marty did. They had some little show that they did for ESPN.
I got
SEC
you. I did not know that they get more creative all the time, and the more creative they get, the less I'm interested. Anyway, this story, it's written by Dave Wilson, new guy to me, never heard of him, talking about how much money Texas A&M has spent over the years on coaches over the last 60-plus years. They have had they've had an ambitious track record of hiring coaches of any school in the country. They go back to Bear Bryant, who, when he was at Kentucky, they hired him away, gave him the largest contract ever given to a Southwest Conference coach. Care to guess, or have you already cheated and looked?
I didn't look.
$25,000
Wow.
a year. That was in 53, I think, 54.
Big time money back then.
That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
$15,000 from the school, $10,000 from a foundation overseen by somebody named Doc Doherty. And, of course, Bryant turned the Aggies into a conference champion, first time in 15 years. Of course, John David Crow, Bear Bryant's only Heisman Trophy winner. Some people may or may not know that. Then they move up to 1958 and go through several coaches before they hire Gene Stallings. And we all know what Gene Stallings did, right? He made them a winner, if only briefly, between 1964 and 67. And actually, he didn't make them a winner. They were 27, 45, and 1. One winning season. He was fired in 1971. But he did beat Bryant.
He did.
In a bowl game.
And Bryant carried him off the field, didn't he? Or at least picked him up.
That's correct. Everybody's seen that picture. Then they hired Emory Bellard. You remember him?
I do. He was at Mississippi State, too, yeah.
That's correct. He created the wishbone. He was at Texas, offensive coordinator for Darrell Royal, helped them win national championships. A&M at that point had not won 8 games in a season since Bear Bryant had been there. And he created a team that started 4-0 in 1978 and then lost 2 straight games. And then he resigned after he learned he was going to be replaced at the end of the year. He quit halfway through the season 4 years into his tenure. Everybody remembers Jackie Sherrill. He was a coach there for many years. I know Auburn fans remember him because I believe he was coaching the Cotton Bowl when they beat Auburn in Bo Jackson. In Bo Jackson's last game, I believe.
He was at Mississippi State when he castrated a bull.
That's correct.
When he bellied Texas.
I don't think he did that at Texas A&M. The list goes on and on. Dennis Franchione. You remember when he left Alabama?
Howdy.
That was probably the biggest shocker of them all. Some say out of the blue, but if you talk to Alabama insiders, they saw it coming that they didn't know if he'd go to A&M, but they saw it coming that he would leave. He apparently he told people this, that the Alabama officials were not truthful with him with just how serious the NCAA violations were and how much they were going to be penalized. They say that's why he left. I think he just chickened out. He couldn't handle the pressure. That's just my opinion. And I was covering Alabama. I was one of those that was covering Alabama at the time when all that went down. And Franchione had he was a good coach, but he was a little bit of a one-track mind, and I don't think he really got it. Anyway, of course, R.C. Slocum was in there, and most recently, who was a guy from the Green Bay Packers that they hired? Was it Mike Sherman?
Mike Sherman, yeah.
Who had a 25 and 25. That's hard to do over 4 seasons before they picked up Kevin Sumlin. Bottom line is they have hired numerous coaches, never been able to reach that championship status. They still keep trying.
Can't blame them for trying.
No, but the question now is, okay, here's Jimbo Fisher, who's won a national championship. Can he duplicate that at College Station?
Based on history, absolutely not. You can't win there. I don't know what the deal is.
Why is that?
I really don't understand why. Maybe
they've
I
got
guess
more money than anybody. More money than anybody. With
I know it.
exception
I know
maybe
it.
Texas.
I think maybe it's because. I guess the coaches, sometimes there's greener pastures even after that, but a lot of these guys just never lived up. I mean, Coach Bryant did leave, and there's no reason why he couldn't have won at Texas A&M, but he left to go to Alabama.
I mean, he won there.
Yeah, but not,
as they say, Mama called.
Yeah, and didn't stay. But I don't understand it myself. I really don't. They got and right now the time is right to win. They've got the facilities. They got 100,000 seat facility. Kyle Field's been upgraded. They've got. Obviously big money going out. No doubt the money has always been there. I mean, $75 million, no sweat. We'll pay it, and no problem at all. But they are in a league.
Get them to help sponsor our show or something?
Yeah, we could.
Just throw a couple of million.
Yeah, call Gene Stallings. He's on that board of trustees or something, or was. But I think, they've always played as the little guy to Texas for some reason. Texas has always been over them, right? Because Texas has had the success.
They play the little brother syndrome,
and now they're coming back and they're doing a little bit. They're in the SEC, but they're not somebody that people are worried about. They're a good team, decent team, average, maybe a little better than that. I mean, some of them had a little bit of success. Obviously, the best one was the first year with Manziel, went 11-2, and beat Alabama that year. But do I expect Jimbo Fisher to win there? He's still got to go up against Nick Saban. Until Nick Saban retires, I don't know if anybody's going to win consistently in this league, and at least if you're in the SEC West.
He might pull off an upset. He might. It may happen. I don't think it's going to happen this year. It might happen next year. I guess my thing is they seem to have everything in place, and they just this is why I believe in tradition when it comes not only to football but really everything. It just seems like the Texas A&M, because they don't have the tradition of playing winning football on a consistent basis, that they just can't get over that hump.
And I don't get it either. I mean, it is Texas. There's a great recruiting bed right there. Of course, you recruit nationally now if you're a big-time power, but there's certainly something to be said about being in the state where there's plenty of football talent. And, again, I mean, there's a lot of great – they do have some great things going for them. You got the 12th man there. I mean, it's a nice football experience.
But does the 12th man win you again?
Well, I mean, it's just nice to have that. I think it's
But everybody's got tradition.
Everybody's got it, but that's one of the nice ones. It's up there.
And I understand. I've never been. That Kyle Field is one of the greatest places to go watch a football game. Not only for the pageantry, but just they say the stadium itself is built to where pretty much every seat in there is a good seat. And if you look at it, it looks like you're looking down on the field from where you sit if you're on the sideline. I would make one other point, though, about Texas A&M, and this is the one thing that I think people sometimes ignore, is timing. Sometimes the timing just doesn't line up. Sometimes you end up, hey, we're good, but, oh, wait a minute. So this is what you have right now. A&M's had a decent team. Kevin Sumlin would still be the coach if he'd have found one more victory against Alabama in those however many years he was there. He got one, and look what happened. He got 5 years out of that.
He fell apart at the end of the year every year, seemed like.
Well, he has, but I think, of course,
that might have salvaged him for one more year. But they weren't going to continue to allow him to stick around, losing 4 and 5 games every year at the back end of the season.
Unless he'd beaten Alabama, they would. That is where you're measured right now. Today, you're measured
helps.
by beating Alabama.
Don't get me wrong. It helps, but still, you can't. You can't choke 3 and 4 games a year away.
Gus Malzahn has lost how many games the last couple of years? 3 years.
They lost 4 last year. It was perfect timing right after beating Alabama and Georgia, and he was a prospect for another position.
And Arkansas was courting him.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect for him.
Timing, and it could be that the calendar has just not lined up for Texas A&M over the years.
And some of these coaches just really weren't as good as they thought they were either.
No, I agree with that.
I mean, R.C. Slocum, come on. I don't know how good Kevin Sumlin really was. He was pretty good, but Jackie Sherrill, not a bad coach, but again, if you want to be an elite program, you got to be one of the top coaches. We're not talking about top 15. We're talking about top 5. Is Jimbo Fisher a top 5 coach? I know he's won a national championship. Will he win another national championship?
Let me think. Saban, Meyer.
After he beat him 31-0.
There's your top 3. Who's 4?
I don't know. Is it because of
if
you take the national championship?
Certainly
it helps him.
Jimbo Fisher is the only other coach that has a national championship.
Yeah, is that all it is? Because he's big. He's lost some games.
For me, it's a big part of it.
But I mean, Gus Malzahn was that close, 13 seconds.
He doesn't have it, and he lost to Jimbo Fisher. So we would just flip flop those two, right?
Yeah, I don't know if Gus Malzahn's had those 4 and 5 lost years. It's the inconsistency with him, but he's in a tougher league, no doubt. I mean, Jimbo Fisher's coming to a tough league now. We're going to see what he's made of.
That's right.
It's going to be a lot tougher than the ACC.
So again, I go back to what I'm saying. A&M has hired this guy. They've given him all this money. They expect him to win a championship. The problem is the guy who's on top is in your division. You got to play him every year. If you beat him, they're going to give you the world. But if you lose to him 3, 4, 5 times in a row, you're gone. That's the way it works today. It's working in the same in the NFL as well. Nobody's been able to offset Bill Belichick. Oh, wait a minute. This guy up in Philadelphia's got it going. They beat him last year. He's the new king.
One season.
One season.
Yeah.
Watch what happens this year. We'll see. I'm not saying he won't have a good year. I don't know if he's going to have a good year. I'm just making the point that there's only 2 or 3 coaches in the country right now. This is why people think that it's bad that Alabama and now you can say Clemson just keeps winning all the time because everybody else is trying to catch them and they can't. And I'm like, look, they're going to eventually leave. Of course, Dabo Swinney may go to Alabama when Saban leaves and transfer whatever he's doing there to Alabama, but that makes it more difficult for everybody. And so why can't everybody else hang on to what they have at least to see if they can at least try to bite up there a little bit? By the way, I'd put Chris Peterson in the top 5.
In top 5?
I would. I might put him ahead because I don't think he certainly doesn't have the same recruiting ground, and he's had success everywhere he's been. And if he goes back to the playoffs again this year, I'll definitely say he's top 5.
It's kind of tough, and I know we're ranking these guys, but when you're in the league, Dabo's been good, but he's kind of had a luxury being in the ACC. I think
he has had that luxury. He had Deshaun Watson,
and I'll say the same. And so did Jimbo Fisher when he had
That's right.
Another Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. But Chris Peterson's in the Pac-12.
He is, and
I don't just have a
successful with what he was able to do. He was given the opportunity, and he.
So you have ranked him. You have ranked him ahead of Gus Malzahn, haven't you?
Yeah, I guess I have.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being unfair to Gus Malzahn.
Auburn fans would have said the same thing after the LSU game last year, by the way.
They did say it.
Yeah.
And the ones that I talked to wanted him gone.
I don't know how many people changed their tune after he beat Georgia and Alabama.
And the year before that.
Yeah.
And
as soon as he loses another game that he's supposed to win, they're going to say it again.
Well, speaking of which, I found this today, again on Saturday Down South. Not that I want to give them all the publicity today, but they make predictions. Now, what happens if this takes place? Adam Spencer, Auburn won't win a single game outside Jordan-Hare Stadium.
I've thought about that. I have thought about the home field factor and how big a deal Jordan-Hare Stadium is for Auburn and how well they play there, and that they don't have their toughest games at home this year, which means they got to go on the road. They're going to be tough to win.
Well, I picked them to lose 4 games.
Now, if they lose every game outside of Jordan-Hare, how many games is that?
That's including Washington this weekend, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Georgia, and LS. 5 losses.
Whew.
And he said they might lose to LSU.
At
home.
Well, this guy's obviously
not
a big Auburn fan.
That also includes losing at Ole Miss. That ain't happening. I love this talk of Ole Miss. This is making me laugh out loud. See, told you. We'll come back. Tallassee Automotive, place to be this afternoon. Come see us.